Alright, so I'm gonna go with some Lost Mines of Endeavor here. I'm working on the Cragmaw Castle, so I'm just gonna try and finish that. Everybody has played this campaign. Well, most people have. So there's likely not gonna be a lot of spoilers here. Waiting for the assets to load is the most boring part of dungeon draft map making. When you have a lot of assets, just kind of have to sit there and watch the loading bar. Hello, Manish.
Boo.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
All good?
Yeah. I am just woke up.
You don't have to use the camera if you don't want.
It's fine. I'm used to it.
This is, I put it on YouTube and I stream, so it's open to everybody. So everything you say is being recorded.
Ouch.
But,
You saying you don't want my face on your video?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I said that you're not comfortable with it. You're happy. I'm happy to see your face. I'm just waiting for the assets to load on Dungeon Draft. I don't know if you can see it on the stream. I linked it on the general chat on Discord. There is some delay always on YouTube streams, which is kind of annoying. So if it's too late, like too delayed for you, and you can't really see what I'm doing, or you can only see what I'm doing like 30 seconds later, tell me, and then I will try and share my screen on Discord, and then you can just kind of look on that, because that is like real time. And,
okay.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how it was last time, because when I look on the YouTube preview here, it does look like there's a massive delay.
Let's see.
Obviously, you have to mute the YouTube video, otherwise you're gonna hear me say things twice. Yeah.
I think there's like there's like a 30-second delay.
Yeah, there is, right? Yeah.
Technology.
It's horrible. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here, and then you can just not tune into the YouTube, and then just go into the Discord streaming, and then you should be able to see it real time.
Yeah, that's good.
Is it showing still for you?
Oh yeah, the stream's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's loading all the Forgotten Adventure assets. It takes for 15 years, so
I know.
Thankfully, I only do it once. Yeah. This is one of the annoying kind of bugs from Dungeon Draft, is that you load all the assets, which is it's fine. It's not a bug. It's just the way it works. But then if I'm working on a map here, and then I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna open another one, and I'm using the same assets, so there it won't load again, right? So it's super quick, it's great, and that works. But then if you try to do a compare levels, to see upper levels and stuff, it doesn't work, and you have to close Dungeon Draft and open it again and load all the assets again for compare levels to work. If you open another map with Dungeon Draft already open, so if you jump from a map to another, the compare levels feature doesn't work anymore. And I thought it was just sometimes, but it's every time. And I don't know if it's because of the amount of assets I have, or if it's some specific bug that I have on my install, and maybe or if it's the whole tool thing, but it's just annoying, you know, because sometimes I'm working on a map that has multiple levels and I'm like, okay, I'm finished, I'm gonna work on another one, and then I move it and I try to compare levels and nothing shows. And it's just gray.
I guess I'll have to try it when I get far enough to do that.
Yeah. This is always scary, you know, when the assets finish and then it says dungeon draft not responding. Please don't crash.
Oh god. I would have to sit through that again. Come on,
It's
dungeon
sitting
draft.
here. Oh, there we go. Oof. Okay. All right. So I'm working on this. The map I opened here is the Cragmaw Castle from Lost Mines of Wendover, as you probably recognize.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes, where's the owlbear?
Yeah, it would be here on this room, which I have. So you can see that I layered here a trace image, you know. So there's the map that I used before is there. This is the map that I have. This is what I made. But I was using as reference the other map that I had before, you see. So if I can make it less or more transparent here so I can see where, you know, the furniture is, and then I can just place new things there, you know. So for example, all these barrels I haven't placed yet, so I just, if I disappear, they're just not there, you see. So
The texture is freaking cool when you change it.
yeah, but I like this, you know. There you can see I made it much bigger, right? So if you see, the map ends like here, right? So I added like 10 squares almost on each side, because one of the problems with the Cragmaw Castle is that, you know, it's, the party is supposed to approach it and then they're supposed to find an entrance to it. You know, there's 3 entrances. You can go through the main door here, or you can go through this locked door over here, or you can go through the secret entrance on the back here. Which is covered by a canvas on the module. So there's like, from the inside it looks like a picture, and from the outside it's kind of like disguised to not look like an entrance, which I haven't done any disguising here yet, but I will. And that's it. You have 3 entrances. And so but you know, if you have a map like, you know, like the original map, you see there's like 3 squares outside of the castle. Maybe here there's a little more, but in general there isn't a lot of space. So like, if you load this scene and then you have no place to put the token, so it looks like the characters are up in the face of the castle, you know, and then they have no room to like, okay, I want to circle around, I want to, you know, I want to hide on the tree. So that's what I want to give here. That's why I added all these external like things. And also I think that it's lame that this castle is just in the middle of the forest, like on a flat area, because that's not where you build a castle. You know, like, you don't build a castle in plains and then like where it can be literally attacked from every side. It just feels stupid to me, because then it's literally you just surround it and you take it, right? It just seems like
You?
a bad
It's always a
plan.
hill.
Yeah, it's always kind of a hill or a place where you have a vantage point, or at least you can see things coming and they can't just show up, you know. And I understand that in the past this castle would have like, when it was populated, people would have like cut the trees to a certain area so they can see enemies approaching and things like that. And now, because it's abandoned, the trees have grown and nobody's cutting them. So I understand that. So the tree line being closed is not a problem to me, because this is an abandoned castle, right? The problem is it not being on a hill. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put it on a hill, because so I'm gonna build some like hills and stuff. So I'm gonna disappear with the original image here. I think I'm gonna go with the path tool, and I'm gonna look for some cliff path, some rocky thing. Maybe this. Or this. Oh, this is nice because it has some grass on it. This one. Yeah. So this one, and I'll transition in grow, transition out shrink, so it kind of has thinner edges. And if this is the entrance, so this would be uphill, right? As you're going into the castle. So I feel like it should be something like this. Let me turn off snap here. Something like, yes, but I have to start from the other side. Okay, so it's gonna be something like this. this good? Actually, I was on the right side before. Let's go again. Start in here. And then we'll just continue here because that entrance is not really supposed to be there. So
There. That is so cool.
I don't know if it's right though. Like I'm having, yeah, I don't think it's right.
No.
It looks
Which
like
way is the cliff coming?
it looks like the upside is at the bottom. You see, and then this is the.
Yeah, it seems like it's the bottom.
Yeah, it's wrong. I have to come from this side. Oh God, here we go again.
Another point.
Yeah, now it looks okay. Now this is, yeah, I'll put some shadow to emphasize it later.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just kind of a beginning. Actually, I'm just gonna make this thicker so the cliff looks bigger. I'm gonna make it 1.5. Yeah, this looks better.
Starker. Because the castle's pretty big.
Yeah.
With the big cliff.
And it makes sense to me that, you know, there would be, I'm even gonna try and stay close here, especially on these areas where they have arrow slits, because they wouldn't build the castle too far from the ledge, because what happens is that people can then hide on the ledge, right? So then you can't shoot them because they're hiding behind the. Oh. All right.
It's the purpose.
Yeah, so I'm gonna edit some points here and then bring them closer here. And this is the thing with designing like maps on Dungeon Draft, which I like to do, is to not only make the map, like, you know, just copy it from the book, especially maps like this, which already exist on the module, right? There's an official version of it. If you just copy it, it seems like, I don't know, like there are some players who will question it, you know, there are some players who like this kind of realism, you know, on the maps. And not realism, because obviously this is not a real game, but it's about consistency, right? So the map has to be consistent with the universe in which it exists. And in a universe where medieval castles are supposed to be fortifications, it is just stupid to build a fortification and make it easy to attack, right? Like that makes no sense.
Plus, like, overall, the theme of how the art style is for all definitely helps with immersion.
Yeah, this looks
like the kind of vibe you're trying to give a campaign, and freaking love this design.
And I can make more layers. I like to make the cliff look like more steep, you know. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna turn off edit points at this point, and then I'm gonna also do like, cause here it's like also uphill, right? Let me make sure it's correct. Yeah, it's correct. Okay, so this is gonna be like this. No, this is wrong. I have to start here. So I can have, and instead of these little super thin things, later I can just edit points and I can just add some points so it becomes thicker, you see? Because I don't like to, the more points you have, the thicker it becomes, because it's proportional to the amount of points, you know, in the line. So sometimes when I have too thin, I just go and I add a few and then it gets a little thicker. Same here, you see? Like this looks kind of ridiculous, so I just kind of
fatten it up.
Yeah. Because like there's like this last point here, you can't even see it, right? So I'm just gonna delete it. You know, it makes no sense to have it there. All right. right? And it's also good to remember that, you know, the details that I see here, when I export the map into a JPEG or, you know, WebP, which is usually the format I use, there, you know, a lot of stuff that I use like 75, 80% quality because, you know, it's when it comes to image, you have, you know, resolution, you have size, and you have definition. You have to pick two, right? Like they can't have all three. Like if you have resolution and definition, the size of the file is going to be gigantic. If you want a size of the file that is smaller, that is more practical for people to upload on their Foundry or Roll20 or whatever, then you cannot have resolution and definition. You have to sacrifice one or the other, right? So in here, I try to sacrifice a little bit of the definition to keep a resolution that matches Foundry, which is 100 pixel per inches. I'm gonna stretch this. Bring it kind of closer to the path here. I think this is nice. And then it also shows that like there is an entrance here because this is an actual entrance, right? There's stairs, there's a door, right? This was in the plan of the castle, while this one isn't. This is like a hole basically, which it doesn't look like that at the moment, but this is supposed to be a hole in the castle.
A little bit of rubble to make it holier.
Yeah, the owl bear is here, so here I'm gonna add a bunch of clutter and like a barrel of water and some stuff. So let's do that.
Cool. I remember when we were playing, that was one of the most memorable parts. That and dying, almost dying in one of the corners here.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some rock debris here.
Do owlbears live in nests?
Yeah, I'm assuming like this owl bear, it was trapped here, right, by the people from the castle. So the idea is that the owl bear attacked them, and then they kind of lured it into this room, and then closed the door, you know, at some point, and then said, okay, now we gotta feed it because we can't let it out because it's just gonna wreak havoc on us, and we can't deal with it. So just leave it in there and just give it food or whatever, you know. And the idea is that whenever the players show up to this place, the owlbear has been here like for a few days. You know, it's not like they are carrying it as a pet for like months or anything like that. But it's like, you know, they had a problem with the owlbear and it broke into the castle and they just lured it in here like maybe a goblin. I'm even thinking to, you know, add a corpse of a goblin in there or pieces of a goblin, you know, because it's like the guy ran into this room and then had no exit. The owlbear killed it and then they closed the door behind it, you know.
The good old bait and switch.
Yeah.
For Ted. For Ted the goblin.
The goblin took one for the team, yeah. And I'll put here some. This thing is in ruins, so I'm not gonna save up on the debris. You know, I don't have rocks falling everywhere, but not the types that kill the players, of course.
Pebbles.
And I can always delete them if it's too much. But in general, I like to have it. The original, well, not the original, but the map that I'm basing this on has, you see, they have some debris like in the middle. I'm not gonna do that because I think that people wouldn't they would clean up the parts where they walk, like they're not gonna be tripping on shit, I can understand the corners, but like the middle of the hallway is strange, Here it makes sense because this is not supposed to be an entrance, right? This is gonna be like disguised to not appear like an entrance. I put the curtains here already, like green little curtains that they added, and here on the temple area there's like purple little curtains. This is the brazier, but it's not going to be lit, and this is where that green warm creature lives. And this is where
spoilers.
And the priests are. Yeah, there's no way. It has to be done with spoilers, because I have to think about what's going to be there, right? So. And here the main door is actually here. I don't know if you can see the wall here that I drew.
Oh, the broken one. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the doors are actually broken, and then I'll put some wooden debris here that will be like the barricade that they made as a quote-unquote door, right? I'm also gonna have to put some wood and debris here, so I'm gonna finish the owlbear area here. I'm gonna go to rubble, stone, wood. Yeah, correct. I'm gonna find some. So just gonna put some, like maybe at some point it broke, like a chair or a table that was here or something. Or tried to escape and took down parts of the ceiling, you know. And then like some chips on the ground. I'll put it under. And then I will put some actual planks. I'll put some planks like on the, and I'll put it on over. Oh, this is over the walls. Okay, I'm gonna have to go to above walls here. Because my idea here is that these planks are kind of blocking
the windows.
The windows, yeah. So these arrow slits were like closed off, so that the owlbear doesn't, you know, throw things out or puts his hand through or something. You know? And then I will also put like some little smaller planks. This I'm gonna put it on 200. They're gonna be like here, as if they were
reinforced.
Like, yeah, reinforcing the door from that side so the owlbear doesn't break through, you know. So something like this. I think this looks alright. And do I have levels on this already? I don't think I did. I don't think I created it. Levels, no I don't. So I'm gonna create a level called tiles. Oops. Which is where I'm gonna have like optional things. So now you see I don't see anything, and if I go to compare levels, I see it normally, right? So I can just put it here. But this doesn't work when you open a new map, which is annoying as hell. So the door here is gonna be a barricade too, so I'm gonna put tiles like this. Maybe. Yeah, maybe something like this.
The intricacies of goblin engineering.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix this. I don't like it. It's kind of weird. This is okay for now, but it's kind of strange.
You could do it at like angles, 45-degree angles. That's usually how barricades are.
Yeah. Have something like this. For now, just so I know what's there, I'm gonna increase the size of this thing. It has to go through the walls, otherwise it's gonna be obvious. This way. Yeah, the idea here that, you know, the players will see this, and then, you know, the DM can put like a door here and make it locked, which means that then, you know, the players can't just go through the door. They have to either push or make a strength check or whatever.
Break it.
Yeah, and then obviously that makes noise, and then, you know, there's two arrow slits right on the side, so it's like this is the worst entrance of the castle. This is like a death trap here.
This is a big do not enter from here. There's other entrances side.
That's basically what it is, yeah. It's sad because when I played this campaign for the first time, I entered just through here. We almost died. This is how smart we were. Yeah. I'm gonna make another level and make it overhead, because this is where I will make the tiles that are like the arches and stuff, because I think in maps like this, if you just have the doors, it's cool, but if you have arches over the doors, it gives depth, especially if they have shadows, you know? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here to the, I think it's walls. Walls, stone. And then I have to find the brick ones. It's down here. Yeah, so these. I think this is good, but thicker, yeah. I'm gonna snap here, so because this is important. Yeah, all right. So something like, yeah, this is good. Then I make them all the same size and position them in the relatively the same, you know, area. Always over the doors, because the point here is for them to feel like doorways, right? Like an arch over the door, right?
Yeah.
So even after the players open the door, they go under this, you know, to enter the room. I think I have it on, oh, here. And this is good. I'll add more later, but, and then what I do is I go here on the path tool and I search for shadow. And there is a shadow which is, it's this one, which it fades on both sides. You see, it's called shadow path, 60%. So I grab this and then I just kind of, okay, I need to remove the shrinken row here. This is gonna look weird. I have to make it match the thing. So this is, yeah, this is good. So the shadow is under. Oh.
The shadow grows.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. I think it's a little too thick though. I'm gonna do a bunch of Ctrl Z's here. Because it's 1.5, that's why. I need to have it up 1. Yeah.
Trial and error.
This is more, you know, this is not a job for people who are not perfectionists. Like,
Good thing we fit the role.
yeah, because if you don't care about details, then this kind of stuff is all about details, right?
That's what brings the map to life. Like layers and layers of tiny little things.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's like a lot of these, like there's not, I definitely don't feel this with every map, but with many of them, I have to just stop. Like it gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's enough. Like I know that I could do more things and put more things in it, but I just say like, that's it. This, I already worked like X amount of hours on this thing. This is good enough. You know, I'm just gonna put it out, because it gets to a point where it's like, I definitely did this with the Netherdeep maps, you know, for Call of Netherdeep. Like because that place is so huge, and I could have added a bunch of more details, more algae, more little thingies here, more overhead, blah blah blah, more everything. It's like, you know, this is enough. This map is gigantic. I'm done. You know.
And at the end of the day, most of it's not going to be seen.
Exactly. And yeah, so now I'm gonna do the shadow on the here. Because if I'm gonna do first more of those cliffs. So many cliffs, man.
So many good assets.
Yeah, these cliffs, they are new. They came like a couple of months ago. So this is really good stuff that they didn't have before on the Forgotten Adventures. So what I'm gonna do here, turning off snap. wrong. So I'm gonna have to start from here. So I'm gonna do here is I'll make these, I'm gonna put it under, and then I'll make these look thicker, you know, by adding another layer of map.
Oh, I see.
So it's like underneath the other one, you know. So this is one way to make the map, the cliff looks higher without having to make the cliff path too thick, because then if you make it too thick, the details on it get a little blurry. The stones are get too big, you know. So this is one way, and also this is easy because I'll do something here that you will see in just a moment. So I think this is good. This is where it would be like starting to get lower, right? And then I will do the same thing here. Yeah. So now this cliff looks a little more beefy. There are some texture problems here. You see that the tiles are going out of the castle, which makes no sense. So I'm gonna fix that.
Oh, yeah.
I have to brush this off.
Green.
Yeah, so sometimes I use the build tool, you know, like when I was starting to outline this, I would go to the building tool here, you know, and then I would like make, you know, like a circle and, you know, and have it, have the castle, you know, like I built these circles here and I built some of the squares at the center with the building tool just by choosing a floor and a wall. But then, um, what I did is I built the negative spaces, right? So for example, like if I go here and move this black texture, you see that this is the inside and this is the outside. You know, it's kind of difficult to understand, but
Oh.
so the reason why I do this is because then to the floor I can use the terrain tool, the terrain brush, and then because these are ruins, I will make the floor dirty. Because when you
And you
have
can brush it
when you
on,
yeah,
yeah.
because exactly, because you can brush lightly, you know. So for example, I can make this part like look kind of dirty, you see, by using the so like here, you know, I can mesh the textures, make this whole area look dirty. Or in this case, like for this part, I can make like the grass is kind of overgrowing the road, you know. So like there's some grass kind of
Mossy
invading.
area.
Yeah. So it's like between rock and grass because the nature is kind of retaking it, and that signals to the players like, okay, nobody uses this thing very often. The grass is growing on the road, you know. So then
It's been wood.
and I can obviously incorporate that on my description as well, you know. And then the, this looks like, okay, people don't come through here. They use another entrance, which would be this one, or the secret one over here. Right? And I want to make it so like I'll put like a little ramp tile here, like a bridge, like this. Let me find here, there's a bridge. Now I already memorized all of the assets because I've been doing this for a while, but in the beginning you spend some hours going through this potion, you know. So I'll put this here, which is like, maybe it's like they would, you know, it's a ramp that they would put like this, you know, when they want to roll over, you know, they want to roll with a wheelbarrow or something, they want to carry it up, right? So they put the ramp down, right? But then it's not there now. They leave it on top here, and then they kind of just put it on and off as they, you know. So this is also a way that, like, if players are going around the castle, they see a little abandoned little ramp there. They're like, okay, wait a minute, why is there a ramp? They won't see this hole here, but they will see the ramp and they'll be like, you know.
Something to explore.
Yeah, little clue of like there's an entrance over here, you know. But it's not like a in your face clue, you know. And then I'm gonna make a remove the wrong terrain here. This here I can go crazy because it's black anyway, so I don't care, you know.
Yeah.
You won't see the texture underneath the blackness. So, like if I
So you basically created the walls of the castle and then made them black.
yeah, I created the negative space and then I put a black texture on the negative space and left the actual rooms of the castle with the floor texture, right? Because if you create a pattern shape 2, which is the one that I use to make the blackness, right? So here you can
Mm-hmm.
choose any textures in the game, and this goes over the floor, right? So this, if I make, for example, like this, for example, so I'm gonna put it here. This is the normal terrain, right? And I can put
Mm-hmm.
a shape here, and it creates a texture, right? This is the blackness, right? And but the problem with this, you can move it and it's great. But the problem with this is that you can't brush. So if I wanted to make this slightly dirty, it doesn't work, right? Like this is just a block of the texture you chose, right? So that's why I like to use the terrain brush to make the actual floor, because I can make it dirty, like it adds a little detail, especially in areas like, you know, in ruins. When I'm making a pristine building, I don't care so much because then, you know, it wouldn't be dirty, right? So I don't have to do these little, like, you know.
Sick.
But when I'm making ruins, this is kind of like a nice trick to have, you know. And then it just makes everything look more rustic and more like, you know, they kind of clean up this place, but you know, it's all kind of full of stuff on the ground. It's not really, kind of rough, you know. And then later, you know, I can, something I also do to make things look rougher is to add some like some blood, or but then I color it something else, right? So this is nice for now, just as like a, you know, a little bit less uniform. And another good thing about having the black texture on the negative spaces, right, is that this saves file size, right? Because the more detailed the texture is, the bigger will be the picture in the end, right? So when you add blackness like this is nothing. Like this is literally blackness. So it's nothing for the file size. It's just a black area. It's like having nothing there, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. So like for a map, for this map, the negative areas are relatively small. You have just like thicker walls kind of feel, right? So that's not so bad. It's like the black areas are like 1 or 2 squares, and it's okay. But there are maps like caves and stuff that, you know, there's more negative space on the map than actual map, right? Like you have just tunnels going through blackness, right? And if you put the black texture on the negative space, like you half the file size, you know, like it's incredible.
Smart. Damn.
Yeah. Nice tricks that I learned
Things you
over
learn.
time. Yeah. I made
Yeah.
my early maps don't have this, but then I realized that this happened. I was like, oh, cool. And like I made a gigantic map, and then I exported it, and it was like 2 MB. I was like, what the hell? And then I realized it was the negative space, you know.
That experience.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, definitely trial and error. And this is why I like doing things instead of, like, I watched some tutorials of this, of obviously, you know, of Dungeon Draft when I began, but I learned like 20% of what I know in tutorials. Everything else is just kind of like, just try and error, just start doing shit, and then you're like, how do I fix this problem? And then you figure it out, or you look it up, and you would never even ask that question if you hadn't done it, you know?
Yeah, literally.
Okay, so now I'm gonna add some path again, But now I'm gonna look for shadows, but instead of having that shadow path that I had the other time, I'm gonna have the half shadow path half, you know, because this starts on a straight line, but then it grades out, right? And I'm gonna make it to like 1.3 here is enough. And then I'm gonna put it under so it's correct. And what I'm gonna do is yeah, this is good. So I'm gonna start it here. Actually, I'm gonna have to make it transition in with grow. So I'm gonna start it here. And then I kind of go under the edges. This gives it that feel, that like
Depth.
yeah, so the cliffs, you see the cliffs look taller, you know, like they pop out a little bit, you know. The only thing I don't like is when they cross, you know, like on the turn there. It's
Yeah,
kind of annoying.
right there.
Yeah, but to be honest, I can fix that, but even if I don't, like there's a tiny one there, you see? Even if I don't fix it, this is barely visible when I export it, you know, like the players have to really be looking for flaws on the map to and normally people have better stuff to do when they're playing, you know, they're not going to be.
We got goblins to kill. We're not looking at overlapped shadows.
Yeah, the players, I mean, an artist would probably see that problem there. I see it because I made it, and you know, if I see it on some other map, I can tell what happened there, you know. But a person who doesn't make maps or doesn't use Dungeon Draft and doesn't care, like they'll be focused on the game elements of the map, right? So they'll be
like if you're stepping up to the shadow at that point, what are you doing in the corner?
Yeah. So I have to. You see, there's a way to drag the points here where that doesn't happen, or at least it isn't so bad. Yeah, this is good. Whatever. This I can't really fix this. I'm just, you know, sometimes when it's too ugly and I don't like it and it's like bothers me, I just put a rock on it, you know. Like I just go here, you know, to object 2, and then I go to boulder.
Cover up the flaws. That's how we do it.
I go with like boulders, and they have like some mossy boulders here, which are gonna match that, you know.
Slap a bush on it, and nobody will know.
I just do this, you know, like there you go. There's a rock there. I'll put a smaller one on top of it so it looks more. There you go. Ta-da! Fixed. So yeah, obviously I'll put more rocks into this thing. All right, what else can we do? So we have the owlbear room, which is kind of fleshed out. I'm gonna put water. Go to storage. Oh, buckets. Here it is. No, there's no bucket with water here, so I'm just gonna put a barrel. I figured they wouldn't want to go into that room.
Top it up too often.
Yeah, so like a bucket, like it's a day, you know. So I'm gonna put a barrel there. It's like they just gave it a barrel of water and just whatever, you know. Yeah, this one here. I'll put it like here, this corner. And then I'll use the blood now. Blood. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, so I'm gonna put like some dry blood under layer 100 under everything. Like maybe this is where he eventually killed
Ted. I mean, the goblin.
The goblin, yeah. And I just go over all dirt, you know.
And if you have a really bloody room, you can like do new blood over the old blood. Damn.
Yes. Yeah, and they can put like these hands, you know, like where, you know, and steps is really nice. You know, like if you think like somebody went out of the room and they stepped on the blood, you know, you can always put the little, you know,
footprints.
Fading blood prints, you know. but I don't need it in this case, so I'm just gonna leave like this. All right. So this room I think is kind of okay. This is the room where the hobgoblins sleep. I'm thinking I put some sleeping bags here and a brazier where they warm themselves up. There's something to fix here on the terrain. There. And but then I think they should have like a table here with some stuff, So it's gonna
make it lived in.
And
could be a table, could be a crate.
It's always nice to have like little tables and barrels and crates on the map because players can always grab them and move them. Like they can say, I want to grab the crate on the corner and put it on front of the door, or I want to use it as cover or whatever, And so people always like if you have it on the map, the players are like, can I move this crate over here and put it there? Like if you don't have it on the map, they will have to, like I do this because I'm a DM, so I can imagine things that aren't there, right? So I can say, is there, I can just fish for bonuses from the DM, right? Like, is there a crate in this room? And then the DM goes like, yes. I'm like, okay, I'll grab the crate and I'll put it here, But beginner players, especially Lost Minds and Delver players, they sometimes won't think of that. But if you have a crate on the map, then they will,
Yeah, gotta get them used to it. I'm just imagining Shatter, like, can I use the door?
Exactly, yeah. So I'll put here like not a table, but some crates that they are using as table, like so. It has to be over the rock. So there's like 2 crates, and then I'll put like some glass. Actually, they have a pre-made cutlery, which I will arrange clutter here. Yeah, so this is cool because I can just put like, they found some set of silverware in the castle, and they're using it, and then they were eating soup or something. I don't know. This moldy bread. This looks great.
Looks like hobgoblin fur to me. Gotta switch the size. The cup's gonna fall off. Yeah.
Yeah. And then people can go like, I grab the cup, I throw it at them. Like you can have all kinds of little details here that people may or may not use. I'm also going to go to adventuring gear here and put like, maybe one of them has a bag. The other one has like a pouch. The other one is drinking some water, so they have like a water skin. Things you would have next to a bed, Maybe I'll add a horn here. And then if I get creative, it could be a horn of blasting or something, I don't know.
You never know if you need
it. Yeah, giving people a horn of blasting here would be a mistake, most likely.
Shit goes sideways, you're like, you know what? The thing you grabbed, that was a horn of blasting.
Like a horn of blasting that always blows up, right? Yeah. One use, boom, blows up in your face, kills the party. There you go.
Oops.
Because level 3 would probably not survive a horn of blasting. So this is where I changed it. In the original map, this room is empty, and it's just literally nothing here. Like they barely even describe it. But and then people always put Gundren like here, because this is the King Grohl chamber, right? So this is where he hangs out with his buddies. This is like the last boss of this area. So Gundren should be here somewhere if they were fast enough to rescue Gundren, or otherwise it would die. Or if the Gundren is in here, I think in your case the Black Spider was here to grab him, right?
Well, all I remember is that the king, major bastard, I hated him.
Yeah.
Mostly because he kept killing me.
So I'm going to go to sitting, chairs. I'm going to put some chairs there.
Is that a little throne? That's what the rug is for.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking, he's a king, so he would have like paper goods. He would have like a map of the area, Make it 200, 300. Yeah, there you go.
So the layers, you have several layers that you use?
Yeah,
Basic stuff that you always do.
yeah, this is good because you have multiple layers where you can place objects, right? And paths as well. You choose the layer for paths, and you can change it retroactive. So for example, if I want to change the layers of these things that are already here, I can go here to the select tool, and I can just mouse over, and this allows me to select anything on the map. You see? So if I select the table, it shows your 200 layer. You see? And I can change it. So right now it's on layer 200, and the map. If I click on the map, it's on layer 300, right? So it's above the table. But not only that, you also have bring to front and send to back, right? Which is the upper and lower. So essentially every layer is 2 layers because you have 300 upper, 300 lower, right? So I can put 2 things on the same layer but have one above the other,
Nice. So these are built into Dungeon Draft, or did you like customize the layers?
No, they already come with every map has these set layers here. You have below water, below ground, then you have these 4 layers which are the ones that are used for like regular objects, and then 700 is above walls and then above roofs, right? So yeah, and okay, so this, and then I'm assuming he would have like something to write, so I'm gonna go with oop, I put a map there that wasn't yeah.
He uses that one as his front.
This is how accidents happen, and suddenly there's like a rubble in the middle, like in here, like there's an item just sitting there, and like, what happened? And I misclicked it.
It's a clue. Nope, it's just a mistake.
Yeah. So I'll put like a writing pen and then some ink here, and I don't know. Yeah, Gundren's gonna be here. So I'm gonna put some little dried blood on the floor because it's like the indication that at some point they beat him and then they dragged him into that room, So
yeah.
Put the blood here. Like this dragging blood, right? But I want it to be under everything, so I'm gonna put it on layer 100 here. And then I'll go with under, you see? And it's below everything. And I'll put this like I don't want it to be too much blood because like he's alive, right? If it's a gigantic blood spill, it's like what?
Hopefully.
How did he lose all this blood and lived, right?
What about his intestines?
Right. And one thing I want to do too is you see these corners. There's a lot of corners in this. There's a lot of corners in this castle that because I placed doors, they're not looking good, like they have this they're kind of glitchy, So I'm gonna put some like columns at these spots. This is kind of a trick from also, covering up problems, on Dungeon Draft. I'm gonna put them on and see if they look good. If they look like too much, I'll just remove them, but essentially I'll find here pillars and then I'll look for like maybe these. I'll put them above walls and I'll put them over and I'll snap so I'm always putting them on the right corner. So something like this. Let's see.
And voila.
I don't know about this. I think it would look better with a round one. And then like I think it's too small. Oh, my blood. There you go. Okay. Yeah, this is a little better. And I zoom in so I can see the details, And this doesn't matter because the players are not going to see this. There are some parts that I won't touch, but like here, this is looking weird. I'm gonna just put columns, and even if they are a little bit out of line, it doesn't matter. Because the wall is gonna cut right through the middle, so they are only gonna see like half of the circle, in the end.
Yeah.
Like the inner portion of the circle is gonna be behind a wall in Foundry, so nobody's gonna see it anyway. Okay. It's fine. No, this is not necessary. Here. And this is like, you don't have to do it, you know? But
things.
yeah. Like I don't always do this, but some maps I will just leave the corners the way they are. But a lot of maps I put them here because it helps, like, and like in my case I'm going to import things into, I don't need this one, I'm going to import things into Foundry, so the walls will come, right? Because I will just, let me get the light here because it's getting too dark. So for me it doesn't really matter in that sense, but for people who use like Roll20 and they're just literally going to upload the image, like
The picture, yeah.
and
That'd be helpful.
then they have to wall things, these little circles, they help you because then you can just click the center of the circle and you are on the joint of the square, So like when you're like click 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 making walls, it's easy, It's the kind of stuff that it's experience you collect from being on both sides, right? Like from importing the thing and then seeing how easy it is, and also from not importing it and then seeing the challenges of actually putting walls in a building, This is weird. I guess this is good. Oh, here. Yeah, I think this is nice. I don't have any weird corners. And because these are ruins, like when I'm making a new area, like a building that is functional and it's not a ruin, then I will put these things like symmetrically, So if there's one on one side, I will use a logic, but this is ruined, so like if there's a missing pillar, it just broke.
It
Whatever.
broke.
Yeah, like there's rubble on the ground. Where do you think the pillar is? It's somewhere there. Like these rocks came from the wall, right? So
the bullshittery just works in your favor.
Exactly. So I don't have to justify myself to you, sir. The pillar is broken. Look no further.
I covered my bases and my pillars.
Exactly. All right, this is good enough. Now, I think the big thing with this map is the part that isn't on the map, which is the surroundings, right? So I'm gonna have to add it here. Like this place is full of trees. Well, like I said, some of it, so I want to put some stumps to show that the goblins and hobgoblins living in this castle,
Use it.
they cut some of the trees for their visibility, right? So there was a big tree like right here, but then obviously if there's a big tree right here, any idiot can hide behind it, and so they went there and cut it, right? And also because they needed the wood, right? So it's a win-win, right? So you cut the tree.
Two birds, one tree.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna. What I like to do with this is I go to the scatter tool here, and then.
Oh yeah, they have that.
Yeah, and then I keep it on 180 degrees, which means it's gonna flip up to 180 degrees. It has that window, I keep the size 1 and 1, so it's always the same size roughly. But then I select all the stumps here.
Oh, you can do multiple. Sick.
Yeah, so one is two. You see, every time I click, it changes. You see, but the thing is, it's too big. So. Yeah, this is better. I'm thinking, you know, there were some trees here, but they just kind of cut it. They were too close to the castle, and they were impairing visibility from the arrow slits. I think this is maybe another one here. Just to show that they did some work in the surrounding areas. And then I'm gonna use these for the actual trees that are still there.
The hollow ones.
Now I'll make the window of size a little different because some trees are bigger than others. This is good. So what I do here is I leave it on the 100 layer, and then so let's say there's a tree here, there's another tree here, another one here.
And you get a tree. And you get a tree.
Yeah. Some of these trees are too close to the edge, which is, you know, so the shadow is not going to show, but that's totally fine. I'm still gonna add like bushes and stuff. So. And now I'm gonna go to tree shadows. Here. And then I'll select like 5 of them. I'll have to make this bigger. So. This is good. Yeah. Okay. Now I turn off snap. And I do this. But these are going to be 200 because they have to be above the stumps. Ah, too tiny.
Hey. I'll leave the tree little. He's trying his best.
Yeah, this is good. Okay. So I have like some trees, and then I'll go to the overhead level. So overhead. And then I'll actually go to trees.
Put in the leaf.
Yeah. No. Choose these. Like this. It has to match the shadow, right? I think I don't have anything that big, so I'm gonna have to fix it. Oh,
Vaguely.
There you go. Has to kind of match the shadow like a little bit, you know. It doesn't have to be exact. All right. So this is how the trees are gonna look on the surrounding areas. I'm probably gonna put more ledges on some parts here just to give it a more, like to really show that this is not only on this hill, but there's like it's a hilly area, you know. Yeah, so this is fine for now. Now on the tiles area, for now I have the barricade of the door. I have to also create something here for that kind of disguises this entrance, you know. I'm gonna put walls, stone. Maybe this one. Just looks obvious here because of the transparency difference, right? But when
Yeah.
players, it will be the same transparency when it's on the actual Foundry, you know. And then this says like there's an arch overhead, and I can do the path here and do the shadow, and then do it like this. It's a little too much. This is good because this is going to be inside the wall, so it doesn't really matter that it's kind of weird. And then I will put on this side, there should be a canvas. I don't know if I have a canvas. Let me look. Canvas. No.
Sheet, maybe?
Bunch
They'd
of,
have laundry stuff? I don't know.
I think, let's see, there's a bunch of pictures here. Artist canvas. See? These are from Tom Cartos.
Hell yeah, too soon.
Tom Cartos coming for the rescue. I'm gonna have this. I'll make it big. Like a big canvas there, which then, you know, the players will see, oh, there's a picture there, cool. And then I'll describe the picture,
Ignore.
but then, you know, they can move the tile, and then I can, on Foundry, I can just drag this to the side, and then it will reveal the entrance.
So when you import it on Foundry, the little picture becomes a tile and not part of the wall?
Yeah, so what happens here, because this is on a different level, right? So if I turn off compare levels, this is all there is, you see? So it's a separate. So what I do is when I export, I just go here, export, I remove the grid off, right? And then I crop, and then I do this, you know. And then I export just this as a file, you know. And then this becomes a separate image that you can just put it on Foundry.
Nice.
And well, when I do it, I will delete this, and then I will crop just this, then I will undo my delete and then crop just this, and because then I have two separate images, right? Because they're too close together, right? Yeah. So that's how I usually do it. And I use the compare levels so that I can see where things should go. So here, I don't think I need any more tiles. Like Gunner is going to be here. I have the canvas. I have the barricaded door, which I may still improve upon. It's kind of weird. But I think once that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an overhead. It's too big. Like this. So there, above the barricade, there will be like an archway, and then I'll do
Entry.
Yeah, I'll do the shadow. Turn on the grid again. There. It's gonna be fine. Somebody's messaging me 1 second. It's bullshit. Okay, so this is good. I think it would be nice to have an archway here, because it signifies the exit of the kitchen, right? Because it's like the eating area.
Separation area.
Yeah, so then I separate it without putting a door, you know. I'll put this in.
Just a little shadow.
Yeah. Just like a little, like this. Maybe I'll turn off snap here so I can actually, because it's not exactly even. Yeah. And then path. to here. Okay, I think I'm gonna put this also as a tile. So what I'm gonna do, I'll go back to this, I'll just copy it, and then I'll go up 2 layers and I'll paste it, and I'll just kind of position it here and go back there and delete it. Because then this is gonna be like something the players can move and put as a ramp, you know, if they want to go there. It's like these are all optional shit, right? A lot of DMs are not gonna use it. I may not use it. But
maybe they want to rescue the owlbear. Who knows?
I'm thinking also here should be some clutter, so range clutter. Let's see if there's, you know, I'm assuming this is like this used to be a temple, right? So they used to have like maybe the whole idea here in this part of Cragmaw is that the goblins, they, you know, I like to think that they came here and then they saw all the noble pictures and all of the, you know, because this used to be a castle from humans and stuff. And then they saw all of this, you know, like, oh, look at them, they have these, they are posing, you know, and they have those fancy clothes and all these pictures that kings make for themselves or nobles, etc. And then they
Yeah.
started to like try to emulate it, you know, so all the Cragmaw ranks are like knight and, you know, king and things like that. And they're trying to live like the nobles that lived in this castle. That's why they claimed it. But it's all like it's a bit of a cargo cult mentality, you know, where it's like they imitate just the traits of it, but they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah.
Typical goblins.
I'm thinking what could it be like on the altar like that.
Maybe candles, maybe something fancy.
Yeah, I think this clutter here is not gonna do much for me, to be honest. Oh, golden. Yeah, I'm just gonna add kitchen cups. Yes, I think this, because this is also supposed to be some loot, right? So I'll add like some golden cups here. Like they found these when they moved in, you know. And they've been using it for ceremonies for their own religion.
For their knighting.
Yeah. Candles is good, so I'm gonna put some like this, and then I'll put the little flames. And then I will come here on the light tool, and I'll put a light here on each one of those. I'll put a light on the braziers as well, since I'm here. And here there's to be some kind of oven where they cook, because this is like the kitchen here. I think there was an oven. Let me just look here.
Probably. A hearth, at the very least.
Jesus Christ. Here, this is from
There we
Cartus,
go.
yeah. I think this is good, like a rusty one. It's like improvised shit, you know.
He's doing his best.
Yeah, and then I'll put some pipe there, you know. So two pipes. Rusty. Maybe something like this, you know, that. And then this could be like a way, like maybe from a distance the group is gonna see a smoke, and then when they get here they'll be like, oh yeah, that's where the smoke was coming from, you know. All right, this is good enough. Maybe I'll put a cauldron here or something. So go back to kitchen. Cauldrons. So yeah, there will be some disgusting stew that they make here. And that stew looks too good. Let me find some.
Oh hell yeah!
Something.
The one with the hand coming out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but goblins aren't like cannibals like this. This would be nice in a hag's lair or something, right? Like some disgusting.
I've been reading a module. This would be literally perfect.
I'll put this one because it looks like kind of greenish, you know, and it's like a rusted cauldron. So and on the storage, I'm gonna put more barrels. I'm thinking they would have like a drinking barrel of something here on the side. So this.
Okay.
They grab like wine or disgusting beer or whatever it is that goblins make.
It definitely isn't Pilsner.
Yeah, no Pilsner. Yeah. Okay, and some sacks, you know, because they have to have like some moldy flour sacks, you know, like kind of leaking on the corner there. The players ask, "What is this?" I'm gonna be like, "You don't know. You don't want to know."
A mistake.
Yeah, that's a mistake. That's what it is. Yeah. And some like maybe here on top of the. But some apples, you know, because you know they're wholesome. This is like tomatoes.
Gotta keep those doctors away.
Yeah. Yeah. And then some like flour or whatever it is. Then I think there should be some storage here too, so I'm gonna put boxing crates. I'm giving them like a lively color, you know, a wooden color, because then it looks like they were stolen. You know, like these are crates that are
mismatched.
Yeah, they're mismatched with the rest. So maybe the group can find this and they can go, oh, look at that. They took this from the road, and so we can take it back to Fandolin, or we can, you know, sell it or whatever. You know. Chests. Let's see. I'll put a chest here just so people are curious. You know. What's in the chest? I don't know.
Disappointment.
There's a thieves' tools. Yeah, whatever. You know, can make it up as you go.
Scraps.
And then cloth. There's always some cool torn cloth rags here. No, not this one. Ripped. This is it. I can always put it under, not below water. So it is that, you know, like they were storing these things. Maybe.
Attempts were made at decoration.
Yeah.
And interior design.
This is what you can see, you know, like you can spend hours and hours just adding bullshit in this map, you know. But then it gets to a point where it's like, who even cares, right? Like, and it also gets to a point where you're putting so much stuff that you're removing the player's imagination, right? Because then when the map is too detailed, then they don't feel, oh, if it's in the map, then it doesn't exist, right? Which is not true. Like the map is supposed to be some kind of guide, right? Not something that you yeah, that you just kind of take as the absolute truth, you know. Also gonna put like some torn cloth here on the owlbear area, like maybe. All right. This should have some like storage as well. That's where the canvas is gonna be. So now this is one good thing, you can go to used here, right? And then you see everything you already put in this map, right? So I can use the same ones, you know. This kind of saves some time, you know. Instead of switching from barrels to crates to blah blah blah, I just go to used and then I see everything that I already put on the map, you know, in other
That's
areas.
good.
Maybe there's a table here, you know, where this is kind of an entrance area, like a back hidden entrance, right? So it makes sense that it would have a table, and then I can put like maybe some weapons here and stuff, because they could just quickly grab stuff and go defend the castle, you know?
Or use it to barricade if they need it.
Yeah. Or use the table to barricade, yeah, so I'll put like some, you know, and it's also loot for the players, right? So
In case somebody doesn't have a weapon.
yeah. Yeah, players are always like, oh, I want to see what's on the table. It's always a way to get them to like forget to say I roll stealth, you know, and then shit hits the fan, yeah. Immediately.
I'm gonna remember that.
It's like, oh, shiny, I want to check it. Yeah.
Ted.
Roll
Ted
initiative.
and me.
Yeah, roll initiative. Shields. Yeah, I would say goblins use those little buckler shields.
Butlers.
So there would be some of those there. Maybe a little different one. Like maybe one is like leaning on the wall here. And some daggers, of course. And bows. I'll put some arrows here. Like a short bow. Alright. I think this is pretty good already. Obviously I have to flesh out the surrounding area still, but like the inside of the castle, like if I had to play on this would be nice, because
this game set too.
Yeah, this area doesn't need to have a lot, because this is like a transition area. So it's like a connecting, like, so here it's a hallway that connects all of these rooms together, right? So it's just a passing area. So it makes no sense to put a bunch of stuff here, because then you would have to keep dodging every time you go through it, you know?
Yeah. And some places need to be clear while
Yeah.
there's a clutter.
Right, and this is the same, you know, this is like a hallway, right? So you don't really have to have anything here. This is more like a storage room for like the temple and for these hobgoblins, who there's some supposed to be some hobgoblins here. You can see like the goblin areas I put hay beds, and the hobgoblin area I put sleeping bags, because they're bigger and they have the better stuff.
Fancier.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like they took it from the goblin and said, this is mine and fuck you, right? And also another detail is like I put barrows on the arrow slits where the goblins are supposed to watch, but not where the hobgoblins are supposed to watch, because they can look
They're
tall
short.
enough.
Yes.
So the goblins will be standing on the barrows and looking through the arrow slit, you know. What else? I feel like this should be a brazier as well. Like it makes no sense to make a fire like this inside, you know. So I'm just gonna copy that.
Campfire, yeah.
This campfire here is kind of weird, so I'm gonna move the light. Delete this, put the light back on, and I'm gonna put the brazier. Oh, I'm gonna put a light here as well for the. It's too intense. Okay. And I need to flesh out this a little more. I feel like there's a light, but maybe there should be more in there.
It is his kingly room. Maybe he has some treasure or chest or something.
Yeah, makes sense. I will put some treasures chest. Storage chests. Yeah, and he's the king and he's strong and badass, so he leaves it open because he's like nobody will dare to take my treasure, you know. And I'm just like it's like look at all my treasure, you can't have it. All right. I feel like this place is missing like wardrobes and more furniture, like shelves and things like that. I think they would have some of those in a couple of areas.
At the very least, ruined or dilapidated and stuff.
Yeah, they wouldn't have like only crates and barrels. They would have like, but I will think about it later. Now here on the outside, I think it's time to also put some bushes. So, bushes. I'm gonna do the clutter thing. Bushes. So I'm gonna select all the bushes from both of these colors. That's a lot of bushes. And size is good. And they are gonna turn. And they should be 100 layer. So they will go under the shadows, you see. This is also things that like the players will be able to hide behind, you know.
Or make use.
Sometimes there have been some maps that it's under the rock. That makes no sense. In some maps I make the bushes tiles, overhead tiles like the trees, you know. So I make them in another layer like, you know, like this. So I would put the bushes like this because then players can go under the bush, right? You can put your token underneath it, you know. That means that you are inside the bush, right? But then it becomes like too hard to assemble the same.
Yeah.
Like the DMs are gonna have like they have one tile for trees, one tile for bushes, one tile for the overhead things in the castle, then the separate tiles like the canvas, the door, barricade. It's become so many little files that like I know how to assemble because I made it, but then my patrons are gonna be like, what am I supposed to do with all this shit, you know? Like,
overwhelmed, yeah.
And then, you know, even if I explain on a PDF, people don't want to read the whole PDF like 5 times to understand what they're supposed to do with the files. You know? So it's like, you know, I want to
minimize.
I want to keep a little bit intuitive, yeah. This is looking okay. I feel like I need to put more cliffs. Maybe a different one. This looks like milder, not as rough as the other one. So I can go like row and shrink. I can do this other side. Do something like this.
And just like that, the monotony is broken and it looks so much better already.
Yeah, it's like, you know, these little details are everything, right? It makes the terrain feel alive, you know.
Yeah,
And when I add the shadows to these, they're gonna look even better. Right now,
pop it.
yeah, these have shadows, but these don't. But I'll put them. And now some boulders. I think these gray boulders are fitting. And this, I will show you how this works because the boulders may seem a little bit out of place as I put them now, like kind of random, you know, but then I'll do something that is gonna bring them alive in a second. Just kind of choosing random boulders here that look different enough from each other. And then I go here to plants. These are not the good ones. Yeah, these are the good ones. So then these boulders combined with these plants, they look like 10 times better.
Smart.
You see, because then it looks like there's a magic in groupings of three,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like if you have just a boulder standing there, it looks like, hey, you just put this here as a random thing, right? But if you
But if you put two boulders and a plant, all of a
yeah,
sudden it makes sense.
it looks like the plants are going through the boulders, and then it's just like, oh, okay, this is great. And this is kind of like a principle of decoration, you know, like putting things in groups of three. I watch videos on home decorations with my wife.
The most random shit comes in helpful. You
Yeah,
never know when.
you never know when you're gonna need it, right? Yeah. So this looks cooler. And then final detail, or not final, but another detail. Moss. This really makes things look cool.
Oh shit. I never thought I'd be here fangirling over moss on rocks, but damn, that's good moss.
Yeah, it's nice, right? It's simple but effective. And you put some of them under like this, you know, to seem like it's growing around the boulder. And then some of them go over on the boulder itself, kind of connecting to the ones that are under, so then it looks like. And then you can do that to the stumps too, like these would be like a older stump that you know already has kind of some stuff is overgrowing on top of it. And the others, you don't have to put it on all of them because some of them may be like they just cut recently, so the moss isn't growing on top of the stump yet. And the cool thing about moss is you can put it on top of the rocks like this. So here, for example. Oops.
Ooh, it ages the place. Nice.
And it just looks cooler. Especially if you then go here and put some, Jesus Christ. You put some,
Gigantic plants.
yeah, some plants on the corner. Yeah. So this really looks like ruins that are being reclaimed by nature, you know, which is the feeling I'm going for. And the secret is to turn them, in different angles and resize them every time you place, because then
It looks different
it looks
already.
like you're using different moss, yeah. And it's funny how, because this is literally how reality works, right? Like this is how your brain maps vision, right? Everything you see is the same thing repeated and resized.
Oh, jeez, existential crisis.
Yeah. Which is why I am a strong believer of the simulation theory.
And that's where we end our today's episode.
Yeah.
Good luck sleeping after this. Damn.
This is the X Files right there.
Yeah. The Y files.
The
All
Y
we're left
file.
with is C files.
Okay. I'm tired of this map already. I'm gonna put more stuff on it, but I've been working on this for like almost 2 hours now, almost an hour and a half now. Yeah, 1 hour and a half. So it's good. I will detail it more some other day. And this is something also that I learned, is that if you live too long on a single map, then you start to like lose brain cells. Like
Perspective.
yeah. It's like it never looks good, and I never see what else I should add. So I either make the mistake of leaving it too bland because I think this is it, I'm tired, it's finished, and then I just decide that it's over, which is a problem. Or I don't, or I add too much because I keep just putting stuff like randomly. And then when I look at it again, it's like, oh my God, this is so cluttered. Let me delete some of this stuff here. And so it's always good to like kind of, okay, this is nice. I made good progress on the map. I decorated a bunch of interior rooms. I made the outside kind of, and I put some moss on the rocks, but not every rock. And I kind of just went with some principle. And then I close it, and then I come here tomorrow and I look, and then maybe I'll decide, you know what, screw the moss on the rocks. I'm not going to do that. And then I go and delete it, or I just go and finish it up and put moss on every rock, and then I kind of just, touch and
And
go.
it's
And
finished.
yeah, and because you spend some time away from the map, then you kind of immediately see what it needs. Like when you come the next day, you look and it's like, oh, I'm missing some barrows over here, and you just kind of put them there.
Fresh perspective always helps.
Right, right. It's like it's almost like you forget how it looks after you don't look at it for a while, and then that helps you actually see the map for what it is, because you don't have anything in your memory interfering with what's in front of you. Put some stuff here.
Pebbles.
Makes sense that this is like, it shows that it's like the ruined front of a castle. And
Weathered.
I don't care if some rocks go into the black parts, because again, nobody's gonna see the black parts. There will be walls blocking them. Like I don't do this, because it's stupid. But if a little bit goes in there, it's fine.
No need to be perfectionist to that degree.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably helps.
Yeah. All right. I was thinking before that instead of having this entrance here, I would have actually an entrance that is like a cave, and it would go underground. But then it's like, then I would have to make another layer,
Mm-hmm.
and
Extra
uh, and
complications.
setting it up on Foundry is just annoying. So I was like, screw that. I'll just make it as it is.
It's still interesting.
Yeah.
Still
So
unique.
when I remove the grid, you can see that this map is like, I could play on this already. Like this is.
It's so nice.
Yeah, this is nice. I mean, I'll probably, when I should probably do this, like add some terrain variety, like just to make it cooler.
Even the base one itself is pretty good when it comes to like making it look varied.
And then, maybe here, because they actually travel into that area.
Make a bed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll make like some weathered areas, because like they have patrols, right? They kind of go around the castle. So then maybe these patrols create a path, you know, like a little where they walk the most, you know. And the tiles kind of came off on that part there. So put some dirt. And here. So there isn't really a road indicating the secret entrance here, but there is somewhat of a road.
There's a bunch of clues that you can look.
Oh, this is not the entrance. The entrance is here, so what am I doing? Yeah, so that, you know, from moving the ramp and stuff here, they kind of destroy the grass, you know. I mean,
It's already 2:30.
Yeah, you could play around with textures all day, really. Eventually you have to say this is sturdy enough, whatever. Okay. And I just want to show you before I go what I did with the... I'm gonna release this... I'm gonna release it on next... probably I'll post it in like 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
This is the red brand hideout, you remember?
Ah, shit!
So I made like the entrance here, you see? And then the crevice where, you know, the Shatter's friend.
Yeah.
That he would always trade
His
treasures.
bestie.
And here I put, you know, a lot of that moss, you see? And I made like, look like wet, you know?
Now I get how this works.
Yeah.
Damn.
And, you know, this is glass staff room with the contract on the table, right? Like the pact, the Fandelver pact that they signed.
That's where I almost died again.
Yeah. This is his lab. I'm still, you know, this is... And then here, I have some like kitchen and some old cluttery. The weapons room where they have, you know, the Red Brands keep all the Phandalin weapons. And this is the prisoner, so there's some sleeping bags, and then here are all the clothes of all the people that they captured, you know. And then here's gonna be the skeleton room. And this, I put like this quote-unquote carpet here, right? But if you remember,
it's a trap.
It's a trap, yeah. And I have a tile. So.
Nice.
Yeah. And here the water, some storage room with sleeping beds. And here we have the main room where the Red Brands are playing cards and eating soup. And so yeah, this is pretty cool. And I'm gonna release it soon. And I really love this, you know.
It's real.
Because yeah, there's a... You see, I put smoke, fog, yeah. So
nice.
When you put it on Foundry, you can make this transparent, so it's not in the way so much, you know. But
atmospheric.
yeah, it creates like, you can see that here there's like vegetation covering the entrance, so from outside it's not gonna be so obvious, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's gonna be fun to play around with this.
It looks gorgeous.
And the bridges, you know, also that go across, they go across the chasm, right? So I have the two, because one of them is breaks when players try to cross. You can make one of them break, or you can make both of them break. That's why I put the both, you know, it's whatever the DM wants to do. So this is gonna be cool. This room is a little bland, and I could have put more stuff. But also I thought, you know, the Red Brands basically just kind of cleaned it up, and they don't stay here, you know, so they don't leave anything here, because this is essentially a trap room, And if anybody crosses this room without the red brand cape, they wake the skeletons, right? So the red brands just kind of rush through this room with, because they're afraid of the ghosts and whatever, undead. It's the same here, like they literally just kind of come here. There's light, right? And you can see that I put a light here, but there is no light. But if you go to the overhead, there is, you see. So what's gonna be, it's like the token's gonna go under the torch,
Nice.
So you see all the torches, they are on another layer. Anyway, so I think that's it for today. I think I'm
done. Time to get some sleep.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out.
No problem. Thanks for teaching all the little hints. I'm going to use them.
All right. I'm going to go do some other stuff. So I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.